Hello everyone. This story is about, what if Naruto and Hinata started living together after she was kicked out of the Hyuga clan? Please like, share and subscribe. Now let's start. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not pace. He did not raise his voice, his eyes, or his attention away from his letter to the daimyo. The attempts to convince him to rescind permission for Team 9 to attend a foreign Chunin exams had stopped a few minutes ago. As he finished his signature and applied an identification seal, Hiruzen finally spoke. I understand and have heard your concerns. There are risks to sending Naruto to a Chunin exam outside of our borders, but your concerns have always been framed less about Naruto's control and more of Konoha's control. Hokage-sama, I believe you are oversimplifying our position. Hamura shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Has Uzumaki Naruto shown any signs of accessing the Kyuubi's chakra? Hiruzen asked. No, but, Koharu began. The third Hokage locked eyes with his former teammate. There is no, but, or any other qualifier. My question is binary. Yes or no? No, Hokage-sama. Uzumaki Naruto has not shown any signs of accessing the Kyuubi's chakra. Describe Team 9's mission ledger, Hiruzen ordered. His teammates recounted Team 9's missions dutifully. Their tone was dismissive. The Hokage could practically hear Hamura and Koharu saying those misfits or the cast-offs in place of Team 9. Team 9 has earned nothing but praise from Konoha's clients. The mission where the delusional bandit Shinichiku was eliminated has served Konoha's strategic interests. There are no grounds for overruling Might Guy's nomination of his genin. The council blinked at Hiruzen's statement. Hamura leaned forward. Forgive me, Hokage-sama, but our strategic interests? Yes, let's just say the new bandit clan in that region is far more malleable and aligned with Konoha's wishes, Hiruzen hinted. Are they perceptive? Koharu questioned. Quite, the Hokage promised. The council was quiet for several moments. Koharu shook her head. While we still have grave concerns about sending Uzumaki Naruto to a foreign Chunin exams, we realize that your position on this matter cannot be swayed. It is the position of the Konoha Advisory Council that a formal protest should be lodged in the records. It is noted. You, Hiruzen stated, including an unspoken and it, are dismissed. Thank you for your time. Hiruzen's advisors left the room quickly. When you become Hokage one day, Naruto, those two will spin in their graves. The image of being pinned to the wall by an inexplicably large barrage of kunai filled Naruto and Hinata's minds as Tenten gushed over the news that Team 9 had been nominated for the Chunin exams. In Kusagakure. Oh my gosh. I'm so jealous. Tenten squealed. A foreign Chunin exams. And here I'm stuck in Konoha preparing to be trapped on a genin team with two geniuses with the emotional depth of a rain puddle. Hinata smiled comfortingly. There's a chance you could be on another team. I'm afraid not, the weapon enthusiast groaned. I've been collecting intel for months on my own, plus, my other sources have all been saying the same thing. Stuck with Neji and Sasuke then, eh? Naruto asked. At least the view will be nice. Maybe I can figure out a way to gag them. Tenten pondered. Naruto and Hinata wisely refrained from saying anything. After a moment, Tenten returned her attention to her friends. Other than watering the plants, what is the biggest thing you need me to do? Take some of the food. We'll be gone a while and I don't want anything to go to waste, Naruto pleaded. You too. Want me to raid your fridge? Tenten asked. Hinata nodded. It would be a shame to have to throw it all away. This is a pretty sweet deal. I'm in. Tenten teased. We appreciate it, Tenten. Naruto shouted. We had an extra key made. I'll go and get it. Thanks, Naruto, Tenten responded. She turned on Hinata quickly with a cat-like grin. Sue. Have there been changes in sleeping arrangements since you two actually started dating? It would not have been a stretch of the imagination to picture steam escaping from Hinata's ears at the question. Her face turned a brilliant crimson and her eyes each grew to the size of the moon. A million stammered denials about sleeping arrangements escaped from Hinata's throat in the space of a few seconds. Calm down, Hinata. I'm teasing you. I've unofficially adopted you as my little sister. It is my duty to tease you. Tenten's words unleashed a coiling serpent of cold dread into Hinata's gut. It is bad enough with Ayame. Oh, and don't worry, I won't tease you this way when we're with Sakura and Ino. Tenten promised. That doesn't fill me with confidence. You'll be fine. Tenten assured her unofficial sister. We're going to rock this exam, Naruto said to announce his return. Here's your key. Tenten accepted the key with a bow. Thanks, Naruto. I'll head out. Got one last assignment to finish, and I'm sure the two of you need to finish getting supplies. Yes, we have a few things left to get, Hinata confirmed. Bye. I'll be sure to send you off when you leave in a few days. Tenten promised as she exited the apartment. I can't believe we're going to be participating in the Chunin exams, Naruto said as the last goodbye left the pair's lips and the door shut. Making a good impression on another village will really help us when we are Kokages. Not only that, but it will be nice to see more of the world, Hinata agreed. I can't wait. Naruto shouted. Same, Hinata agreed. Do you think Lee is as excited as we are? Naruto laughed. Hinata-chan, there is no one in this world or any other that could possibly be as excited about anything as Lee. Rock Lee was struggling to contain his excitement. He had already run a celebratory 10K run, but this situation was not the time for indulging in his excitement. I am so happy for you, Lee-kun. Yakumo said as she paced around him. But, I'm nervous. You'll be in a foreign village. I would feel so much better if I was able to be with you. And your team to support you directly. Yash. Lee cried as he flashed a thumbs up. Knowing that you have such a youthful wish to support me and my team warms my heart. I know Team 9 will have a successful Chunin exams now. Yakumo smiled weakly at Lee. I wish I could be there to cheer for you. So do I, Lee readily agreed. Yakumo's smile and renewed spirits filled Lee with confidence. But your dream is so close too. Soon you will be able to become a fine kunoichi using only genjutsu. Overcome, Yakumo gave Lee a hug. The two teens bolted apart after a moment. I can't believe I did that. Yakumo thought in a panic. I cannot believe she did that. Lee thought in pretty much the opposite of a panic. Well, Yakumo was blushing furiously to the point she was beginning to feel faint. Yash. Thank you for your support. Yes, in fact, I was thinking that perhaps, if you would like, we could have lunch together to discuss our successes when I get back. Yakumo felt her heart leap out of her chest, run around the section of the park they were in a few times screaming happily and return to Yakumo exhausted yet happy. I would like that. Lee made a start to continue the conversation and end on a victorious note, but Yakumo's face fell as she looked past the young genius of hard work. One of my clansmen has come to collect me. It was wonderful to spend time with you, Yakumo-chan. Lee said with his usual earnest gusto. Yakumo nodded. Her cheeks flushed with excitement. Yes. I will see you soon, I promise. Lee was barely able to nod in agreement before Yakumo was whisked away to a clan function. If this is not what Gai-sensei means by youthful, I do not know what is. Konoha's beautiful green wild beast, as Gai-sensei had dubbed Lee, thought to himself. Carelessly, Lee allowed himself to become quite distracted by the happy developments he was experiencing. His mind, clogged by his giddiness as it were, put his body on autopilot. The next conscious thought Lee recognized was his count reaching 26. As the count of his usual combo warm-up pattern reached 30, Lee realized the punching bag had been ill-cared for before Lee had abused the bag with his intense workout. The academy would have never fallen into such disrepair if Irika-sensei was still active in the educational system. Lee discovered the poor care of the equipment as the punching bag's chain snapped. The force of Lee's kick sent the bag bouncing across the floor. And directly at one Hyuga Niji. The Hyuga cadet shattered the bag with a chakra-enhanced blow. Jukin was an art designed to inflict horrific damage on internal organs. Lee had heard rumors of the destructive power of Jukin. He had never imagined that the art was so powerful. He was simultaneously terrified and thrilled. Terrified of the danger. thrilled by the prospect of facing and overcoming such danger. However, there was a more immediate need at the moment. Lee bowed. "Forgive me, Niji-san. I was unaware that the academy's training equipment had fallen into such disrepair. I was in no way attempted to inconvenience you." "Inconvenience?" Niji asked with a harshly appraising gaze. Lee nodded enthusiastically. "Oh yes. You are a splendid shinobi, and something as trivial as a punching bag would pose no threat to you." "I am not a shinobi yet. I am trapped in this academy for until the next graduation." "How can you be so certain that I am to be a splendid shinobi? That I am destined for it?" "Absolutely." Lee agreed without a hint of hesitation. "Your destiny is to be a fine shinobi." "Perhaps destiny did not need you to be one yet?" Niji continued his appraisal of the other shinobi. "Destiny is a set path. It guides our actions." "I have never thought a great deal about destiny," Lee confessed. "However, I believe that destiny is the destination. I hope we all have a great destiny, but we can't forget about the journey. The journey is preordained by destiny. Every action, every moment is simply part of that inexorable draw towards our destiny." Lee cocked his head to the side. "So, there is no free will?" "Free will is a delusion of the naive and foolish," Niji declared with venom. "I cannot agree with that," Lee declared without venom, but with equal conviction. The two shinobi stared each other down. Eventually, Niji asked, "How far are you willing to go to support your convictions?" "I will gladly demonstrate the flames of youth to you." "Hyuga Niji. I challenge you to a sparring match." The silence that followed was deafening. Even Lee's boundless enthusiasm wavered for a moment. He was unsure how Niji would respond. "If defeat will free you from your delusions, then I accept." The upcoming graduation did not impact the students alone. Konoha, as a whole, was preparing for an influx of new recruits. The most immediate benefit was a glut of D ranks that could be completed by genin instead of vetted migrants. Torture and interrogation would be very busy in dealing with the non-shinobi spies the sweeps would catch. Economics was the furthest from the minds of 3 jonin that were leaving the briefing on the projected teams. Hatake Kakashi was fuming. His worst fears had been confirmed in no uncertain terms by the Hokage. The copy Nin would be leading the Hyuga/Uchiha experiment for the second time. At least there was some kind of silver lining this time. "You don't seem too pleased," Kakashi, Asuma quipped around his cigarette. "Those two worry me. A strong enough kunoichi might let them get through my test, but long term." The 3 other jonin in the small group, Yuhi Kurenai, Nakano Toshio, and Naradine, gave Kakashi a concerned look. Nakano Toshio, a sandy-haired and freshly promoted jonin, adjusted his glasses. "Concerns? You have all seen the files for those two. Incredible talent, but..." Kakashi let the word hang in the air. Toshio hummed. "Quite. Perhaps some outside help? I know there are many within Konoha would talk to them. Would you mind some assistance in setting up a support network?" "There's merit in that," Kurenai agreed. "I could reach out to the Kurama clan. They have done wonders with Yakumo recently. Let's see if Team 7 even makes it. The Kunoichi Hokage-sama has selected us on several short lists, so I don't think there will be a repeat of the last attempt," Kakashi explained. "The one Ibiki was raving about?" Naradine asked. "Yup," Kakashi confirmed as he fished a certain orange book out of his vest. "There is a great deal of potential in that one. I considered lobbying for her to join Team 8, Kurenai confessed. Past 2 classes have produced a number of genin with potential, Asuma admitted. I can't wait to see them in the field." "Let's not get ahead of ourselves," Toshio cautioned. Kakashi nodded. "They have to pass our tests first. They don't strike me as the reckless types." "I'm sure we'll be fine," Dean exclaimed with a smile. "What's the worst that could happen?" Rock Lee was absolutely thrilled with the spar against Hyuga Niji. The prodigy was living up to his billing. Lee had never been pushed so hard. It was exhilarating. I will have to find a way to repair the wall, however, Lee thought as he landed in a crouch after pushing his luck against Niji. He had to get Niji off balance. The gentle fist style was very formidable. If Niji took the initiative, Lee was in a great deal of trouble. So, he did the most Rock Lee thing available. He missed with a sudden uppercut-based combo. Niji parried the assault beautifully, but Lee still achieved his goal. Another section of the wall fell and made the sparring floor a complete debris-strewn mess. Lee smiled once again. This fight was exhilarating. Niji was a very different fighter than Hinata. Lee's teammate flowed from her stance. Hinata's gentle fist was a graceful dance. Niji was far more precise in his movements. It was less like a dance or flowing water. The Hyuga prodigy carried himself with machine-like precision and the rage of a whitewater rapid. You truly earned your reputation as a wonderful fighter, Niji-san. Lee praised his opponent. I am surprised. Fate has granted you some skill, but it will not be enough. Niji cried out. The two resumed their combat. Lee was relying on a flurry of kicks and sheer aggression. Gai-sensei had taught Lee the value of forcing an opponent to change their eye levels. Unfortunately, that strategy was useless against a fighter with the Byakugan. Gentle Fist was as fearsome as any fighting style, jutsu, or shinobi tool on the planet. Lee could not afford to be put on the defensive. As Rock Lee prepared to launch into another offensive, he was suddenly knocked away by a solid wall of something. The taijutsu expert skid to a stop, out of breath, and out of range. Niji, for his part, stood in a perfect stance. Lee could feel the exertion leaking from his form. Enough. The voice of Mizuki-sensei echoed through the dojo. Mizuki's stance was professional and collected as he stormed forward. He looked every bit the professional teacher. However, Niji noted how Mizuki's eyes darted around the room. There was a manic energy in his gaze. The two of you have done enough damage to my academy. You are lucky that I don't just expel you both. Lee bowed. Apologies. It seems we let our passionate beliefs in the flames of youth and destiny get the better of us. As a graduate of the academy, I should be more cognizant of my surroundings and my improved abilities. Aren't you the courteous one? Mizuki asked. Niji wasn't sure if Lee detected the condescension in the academy teacher's voice, because the green-clad genin simply answered. I always attempt to be polite. I believe there is no harm that can come from politeness. You are so sure of yourself, the teacher scoffed. Thanks to the recklessness of this spar, I will have to secure a D rank in order to get the academy back in order. The younger shinobi nodded at the statement. Lee's bow was more respectful and apologetic. Niji simply gave the bare minimum required by social standards. Dismissed, children, Mizuki ordered. Both young men left the academy. As they walked away, Mizuki stood in the center of the ruined arena. Was this his life now? Cleaning up after overeager brats? I've stagnated. No. Stagnation has been forced on me. Bitterness radiated off the Chunin. Pedestrians, civilian and shinobi alike, steered clear of the angry man. Except for one young woman. Ah. Mizuki-san. Good afternoon. I am greeted her fiancé's friend. How are you? Mizuki grunted at the ramen chef. I can't say good to either. Two brats utterly wrecked one of the sparring rooms. I'm going to have to get a D rank to fix it. That is unfortunate. I hope the students were apologetic and not mouthy, I am added. Unfailing polite, Mizuki answered. The ramen chef nodded in agreement. She didn't want to say anything that could put Mizuki in a fouler mood. At least the genin will clean it up the D rank so you can focus on other work. Yes, so I can do paperwork while my shinobi career stagnates. I am frowned. I take it the academy hasn't said yes to any transfer requests. Aren't you as perceptive as a Hyuga? Mizuki snorted. I'm sorry. I'm frustrated. Excuse me. Mizuki stormed off and could only frown. She was worried about what may happen, but there was nothing a civilian could do. Rock Lee looked up from his pack, and the storage scrolls Naruto had graciously provided, as there was a knock at his door. He wasn't sure why someone would be calling on his home at 6 o'clock in the evening. Still, it would be quite rude to leave a person, or group, waiting at the front door. "I will get the door," Lee announced as he bounded down the stairs. "Thank you, Lee." Rock Lee's mother called from her study. "Good evening. I am sorry for the wait," Lee said happily as he opened the door. To find a grinning Naruto, Hinata, Kiba, and the rest of his friends. Most importantly, Yakumo-chan was with them. "Yo. How ya doing, Lee?" Naruto asked with a huge grin. "I am doing quite well," Lee answered. His gaze was only half focused on Naruto. Kiba quickly noticed and subtly elbowed Chuji in the ribs. The Akimichi heir grinned and nodded. "What is the occasion, my friends?" Lee asked after no one spoke up. Ten, a friend of Hinata's, Lee assumed, grinned. "I thought it would be fun to get everyone together for a celebration. You guys are about to go to a Chunin exam." Ten came and got us, Ino explained. "I talked my parents, Chuji and Shikamaru's parents, into letting us use the fields near our clan compounds. I got a couple of storage scrolls full of snacks and firewood." Naruto shouted happily. "We're having a bonfire," Kiba supplied. Lee grinned widely. "I will inform my family." "Please wait a moment. Is Lee always that enthusiastic?" Sakura asked as Lee headed back inside. Yakumo nodded. "Lee-kun is a very passionate man. And a total bro," Naruto added in support. A few moments later, Lee emerged from the house with a grin. "Shall we?" The procession of Suntabes crossed Konoha with smiles on their lips and a spring in their steps. The official shinobi were soon to be Chunin exam participants. The rest of the friends were soon to be official genin. It was nearly impossible for anyone to be experiencing a low moment. Even Shikamaru was wrapped up in the good vibes. The Nara heir hadn't referred to anything as troublesome in over an hour. Akamaru was running between each and every person begging for attention. The young Ninken certainly got what he was after. Everyone was very eager to give the dog lots of love. "We've made it." Ino and Sakura proclamation was clearly choreographed as the two young women turned to face the rest of the group with a practiced flourish. "I'll get things started," Naruto replied with equal enthusiasm. A veritable boatload of wood appeared from one of the scrolls Naruto always seemed to carry around his belt. "We'll help get this set up," Chuji offered. Shikamaru groaned but went to help. Kiba was seconds behind. "Who knew, but boys can be useful," Ino joked. "Miracles never cease." Ten joined in the teasing. "Stand back, I'm doing it justice," Naruto shouted. Katan, Eden quickly followed. The group of friends cheered as the bonfire raged. "That's pretty dang cool, Naruto," Chuji hooped. "Thanks," Naruto replied. The next few minutes were spent setting up snacks and music. As the party site was being set up, Kiba was challenging Lee to a push-up contest. It was surprisingly competitive for a time. Until Lee decided to stop playing nice. "Are you sure you can keep up, Kiba-san?" Lee asked playfully. He nearly fell to the ground when Yakumo started cheering. Kiba laughed. "Afraid not. I think you've got this. You were quite the competition." "I thank you for the contest." The taijutsu expert praised his opponent. "That was great, Lee," Yakumo shouted from near one of the snack tables. Lee waved shyly back. "Food set up." Chuji let his friends know. Everyone gathered around one of the tables. Team 9 found themselves grilled on what they knew about the Chunin exams. Unfortunately, there wasn't much Hinata, Lee, and Naruto knew. They had been told where the exams were being held, but beyond that Team 9 was as in the dark as their friends. "Troublesome, I've heard of B ranks with less operational security than this," Shikamaru griped in between sushi rolls. "If we only knew someone who was really good at finding information out and was currently being bribed by food at a bonfire." Sakura hinted with the subtlety of a tap-dancing biju. "Don't look at me," Ten replied with grace. Quickly swallowing her food, she explained. I've heard almost nothing about the Chunin exams. Most of my intelligence gathering has been on how the Genin teams are shaping up this time. How are those looking? Ino asked hopefully. She shot a grin at Sakura. Sakura grinned right back. Don't give me that look. You aren't going to be with Sasuke-kun, Ino pig. You're right, Tenten lamented. I'm stuck with him. Stuck? Ino and Sakura asked. With him and Hyuga Niji. Tenten rested her head against the communal table. Hyuga Niji is a very capable shinobi, Lee said. His tone was meant to be placating and comforting, but everyone heard the unspoken, but. Go on, Yakumo prodded. Hinata nodded. Naruto felt her nervousness and took his girlfriend's hand. She was curious, but was sadly expecting the worst. I had a discussion with Niji-san about destiny and free will. He was quite adamant in his beliefs. That led to a spar. The spar ended. Inconclusively. Worse, Mizuki-sensei was exceptionally cross. Worse? Kiba asked. Man, when hasn't Mizuki-sensei been acting like someone pissed in his cereal every morning? He has been really angry lately. Sakura tapped her chin. Bah. Let's not worry about that. We're here to have fun. Chuji, comfortable among his friends, waved off the topic. I want to know if anyone can beat Tenten in an accuracy contest. The answer is no, Tenten stated. I'm game, Kiba laughed. I would like to see how I compare. Hinata added. She was grateful for the change in conversation topic. Tenten laughed. Bring it on all of you. The massacre that followed would pass into legend. Tenten started using trick shots, offering to double points for all non-bullseyes and other handicaps. It didn't matter. Her friends would tremble at the mention of her skill for months to come. We give. You win. Naruto conceded on behalf of everyone. Say it. The group looked at Tenten, at each other, and back to Tenten. You're the best. Don't you forget it. Oh man, this has been so much fun. Kiba translated for the howling Akamaru. Gotta agree, Shikamaru added. Because you didn't do anything to set up, Ino snapped. But we're going to have to do this after we all get promoted. A great cheer erupted from the teens. Nothing could stop them. Nothing would stop them. Their dreams wouldn't just be dreams. Mizuki downed yet another beer. He was still furious over the previous day's fiasco. The D rank to repair the academy wouldn't be accepted until the new batch of fodder was sorted. Not my problem anymore, Mizuki growled. The reason? Mizuki was done with the whole farce of Konoha. He had heard through the grapevine that the freaking demon child was headed off to the Chunin exams. How was that even considered? It was bad enough that the disrespectful little brat, if Mizuki was feeling generous, was even allowed to become a shinobi. But to test so quickly for Chunin? The fourth Hokage is probably pissed at us. How can we possibly be honoring the great Namikaze Minato by allowing that abomination to piss on his grave with every breath? We dishonor his legacy by letting that Naruto live. I'm done for the night, Mizuki announced to the bartender. Not if you aren't paying, the civilian snapped. Mizuki waved him off. I get paid tomorrow. You know I'll be back. You better not be a freeloader. The man snapped back. If he was honest, the bartender was pretty glad to see the Chunin leave the bar. Mizuki had been radiating bad vibes for a while. Patrons had gotten up and left just to get away from his shitty aura. Maybe business will pick up with him gone. If Mizuki picked up on the man's low opinion, the embittered shinobi gave no tells. He was quickly absorbed in his retirement strategy. He had to plan it quietly and quickly. There could be no trail or forewarning. TNI had put Mizuki on a watch list. There was no doubt in Mizuki's mind that Konoha was waiting for the easiest and quickest excuse to put his career in the toilet. I will die before I let that piece of shit Irika surpass me, or that abomination even thinks about being my equal. The die was cast. There was no going back. Another day passed, and Konoha was buzzing despite the early morning hour. The main auditorium in Konoha's academy was filled with 24 genin, their jonin sensei, and several Konoha VIPs. It was a gathering of many of Konoha's best and brightest. None compared to the final VIP, the Sandaime Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen was smiling like a doting grandfather as he made his way to the podium. The audience waited in rapt attention for the Hokage to speak. Shinobi of Konoha, you have been presented with an immeasurable opportunity. For the first time in history, a Chunin exams will be held outside of one of the great shinobi villages. Kyuzugakur has secured the honor. Kyuzugakur and Konoha have always enjoyed friendly and fruitful ties. As participants, you are representatives of Konoha. Your every action, every word, and every breath reflect on our village and our nation. The crowd hung on each syllable. Hiruzen, a veteran of both combat and public speaking, used the pause effectively. He made eye contact with numerous assembled shinobi. Genin, you will not simply be representing Konoha to Kyuzugakur. Potential clients, potential allies, and potential enemies will be watching. Though the Chunin exams are an alternative to war, the competition between villages is a matter of survival. We are seeking to secure the economic viability for our entire nation. Naruto quietly leaned closer to Hinata. Viability? Making sure Konoha makes enough money to survive, Hinata whispered. Naruto nodded in thanks. The Hokage continued his speech, but it was less motivation and more logistics at that point. Naruto was sure Gai-sensei would fill the team in with the details later. Eventually, Hokage Gigi dismissed all the genin teams. Naruto and Hinata had expected a crowd to greet the departing shinobi. He just hadn't expected a huge crowd for both himself and Hinata. Excuse me, I see my mother. I will return in a moment. Lee announced and rushed off into the thick of the crowd. Go Naruto and Hinata. Ten, Sakura, and Ino cried out as they held various signs wishing their friends luck. This is so awesome, Naruto breathed. Hinata nodded in agreement, but her full attention was given to a single person standing some distance away from the crowd. The young girl was wearing a very simple black sparring outfit. Her hair was long, symbolizing her good standing within the clan, and hanging loose around her shoulders. She waved. More than that, the girl's pale Byakugan eyes seemed to shine. Hinata was so happy that she was on the verge of tears. Her beloved sister, Hanabi, remembered her. Hanabi didn't hate her. There was a bit of sadness in the younger Hyuga's eyes. But Hinata understood. Is everything okay, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. My sister waved at me. Hinata exclaimed. That's awesome. When we get back, we should totally try to get you two to talk. I would love that. Hinata and Naruto beamed at the thought. Hinata was thrilled at the chance to reconnect with her sister. Naruto was happy because Hinata was happy. My friends. I'm back. Lee shouted. Welcome back, Lee. Naruto said. Hinata was mouthing a message to her sister. After finishing the statement, she turned to her teammate. How is your mother? Nervous, but she is very supportive of my entry into the Chunin exams. She has promised to make her famous curry rice when I return. Lee answered. Oh man, that sounds pretty good, Naruto added. I can say with absolute confidence that it is beyond good. That is certainly something to look forward to when we return, Hinata responded to Lee's declaration. As Chunin, Naruto was quick to add on to the moment. The conversation was tabled for a while as the carriage caravan that would take the genin to the border arrived. Naruto had zoned out when the Hokage started talking about those details. He had been confident Hinata-chan and Lee would have his back. They had not let him down. Eventually, Team 9 ran out of conversation topics, books to read, or information to process about the upcoming exams. The changeover to Kyuzugakur's carriages was a relief at first. Until everyone realized that there were no windows. The Kusa shinobi took a roundabout route to the village hidden in the grass. Hinata-chan, can you see out of the carriage? Naruto asked. The chakra in the carriage has been turned off. Hinata answered. I think they may have some kind of chakra wood. I didn't see any seals in the area. If they did, Naruto would likely have defeated it, Lee praised his team. Thanks, Lee. Team 9 was grateful when a Kusagakure shinobi opened the doors to the cabin. The shinobi was very bland in appearance. He had neatly styled brown hair, generic brown eyes, and wore his hitayate in the traditional position. Welcome to Kusagakure, the man said in smooth, practiced tones. Please draw a number from this box. The Konoha shinobi were surprised that he materialized the box so quickly. Hinata hummed quietly. Could it have been in one of the outside cubbies? Hinata drew the first number. She got a 2. Lee drew 1, and Naruto got 3. The team was split up and sent to the proper lines. Naruto was not thrilled to be away from his friends, but he was pretty sure this wouldn't take too long. And I doubt anyone would start something before the exams start, Naruto reassured himself. Naruto was actually kinda enjoying the experience. This was his first time in another shinobi village. Naruto was still technically outside the village, but he could still see some of the buildings. They were certainly different than back home in Konoha. The village hidden in the leaves enjoyed plenty of rounded buildings. Many of the buildings in Konoha weren't very tall. They did not rise above the trees that surrounded the village. Kusagakure was different. The buildings were far more squarish. Naruto was shocked by how tall they were. Some were more than a dozen stories tall. That was insane. How can they keep so many huge buildings hidden? Naruto wondered. I guess that's why they were so crazy secretive with the carriages. Next. A grass Chunin called out. That was Naruto's cue, so he stepped forward. Little did he know, a set of crimson eyes were staring into his very being. Such warm chakra. I've never felt something so perfect and warm. I want to sink into it, the young woman practically cooed. Uzumaki Naruto. The boy declared with a voice that practically dripped with pride and warmth. The warmth in his voice somehow matched the warmth of his chakra. There was a deeper level to his chakra, but there was no need to dive deeper. This Uzumaki Naruto had chakra that was almost hypnotic. She waited for the Konoha shinobi to finish registration. As the very cute Naruto started to head back to his team, the girl made her move. Oh, I'm so sorry. She exaggerated as she bumped into the Konoha shinobi. Oh, he's fit. It's okay. Are you alright? Naruto asked as he helped the Kusagakure kunoichi to her feet. Little did Naruto know that it was mostly an act. I'm fine, the kunoichi answered while holding on to Naruto's offered hand a little longer than necessary. That's good. Naruto rubbed at the back of his head with his newly freed hand. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. Mind if I ask your name? Another Uzumaki. I can't believe it. My name is Uzumaki Karen. Do you know which lineage you are a part of? Karen asked excitedly. Oh wow. I didn't realize there were any other Uzumaki. Lineage. I have no clue. Naruto admitted. Karen hummed. Your chakra doesn't resemble mother's chakra. I don't think you are from my lineage. You can see chakra? That's so cool, Naruto complimented. What's that like? Complicated, but amazing, Karen answered. Maybe we could meet up to talk about chakra and connections. Danger, Uzumaki Naruto. Danger. A voice in Naruto's mind warned. He could practically see the flashing red warning light. Maybe? I should get back to my teammates, Lee and Hinata-chan. Naruto's eyes darted around for an escape route. Hinata-chan? Karen asked. Her tone was cautious, but there was a hint of challenge hiding in the words. His partner, a new voice declared. Karen watched through a withering glare as a girl's arm wrapped around Naruto's arm. Partner, you say? Karen challenged. I'm going to die in this crossfire. Naruto was sweating bullets. The last thing he wanted was for Hinata-chan, his girlfriend, to be mad at him. She was a better taijutsu fighter than he was by several dozen miles. And roommate, Hinata added. The verbal gauntlet hadn't been thrown down fully yet. And girlfriend. The verbal gauntlet hit the proverbial table with a deafening impact. Several nearby shinobi, Konoha, Kusa, and beyond included, started backing away from the looming confrontation. "Oh, really?" Karen hissed. Hinata nodded and tightened her grip. "Let's go, Naruto-kun. Lee-kun and Gai-sensei are waiting for us." "Yeah, that's a good idea." "Nice meeting you, Karen," Naruto answered politely. He let Hinata lead him away. He wasn't going to lie. Having Hinata hanging off his arm like this was actually pretty nice. And she had a fierce look on her face that was pretty dang hot. As Hinata turned to give that Karanabe a Kugan-backed glare, she had one last thought. So, the Chunin exams really are a war. Uzumaki Naruto was very confused. Hinata was still guiding him away from the confrontation with Karen. The young man knew his partner, best friend, teammate, and girlfriend enough that he wasn't worried about her being mad at him. Hinata's reaction was just pretty unexpected. "I've never seen her that mad," Naruto thought nervously. The last thing he wanted to do was to have her become angry with him. "I'll figure something out later." Who did she think she was? Hinata finally spoke. She nearly growled the question, and Naruto tensed. "A cousin or something?" Naruto took a risk and asked a question. "She seemed really excited I was an Uzumaki." Hinata huffed. "So, that's what she is into." Naruto wasn't going to acknowledge what Hinata was hinting at, but he could practically taste Hinata's opinion of Karen getting worse. He had to admit that it was kinda queasy. "I definitely don't get it. I just thought it was cool to meet another Uzumaki." "Don't get why someone would hit on a cousin, though." The simple reply was evidently the perfect response to Hinata's statement. Naruto received a quick kiss on the cheek. The grip on his hand became warmer and less commanding. Naruto was glad. Things were getting closer to normal after the earlier weirdness. If they had been back in Konoha on an average day, it would have been entirely natural for Naruto to suggest a chiraku or a walk to the park. They weren't back in Konoha. This wasn't an average day. Naruto and Hinata were pursuing their dreams. The Kusagakure Chunin exams were the next step towards becoming Kokages. "My friends. Over here." The familiar and comforting voice of Lee reached Naruto and Hinata. "I'm glad I found you." "Hey, Lee." Naruto responded. "How'd registration go?" Lee gave his teammates a quick thumbs up. "Quite well. There were no issues that delayed me." "Was there an issue with your registration?" "Not with registration," Naruto confessed. Hinata was still practically welded to Naruto's arm. She huffed. "With some natives, though." "I see," Lee responded in the safest possible manner. Hinata rarely got so heated. An angry Hinata was a force of nature that Lee wasn't sure he wanted to be an obstacle for. "Still, we have successfully registered. I can take you to our fellow Konoha shinobi." "That sounds awesome." "Thanks, Lee." Naruto praises his friend. "Yes," Hinata agreed quickly. "Thank you for being so reliable." Lee beamed as he motioned for his friends to follow him. Team 9 weaved through the crowd and joined their countrymen. "I see you found your team," Lee-san, a bespectacled shinobi, commented. "I hope they weren't causing too much of a scene." The taijutsu prodigy bristled at the tone of the comment. "My teammates were no doubt behaving in an exemplary manner, Kabuto-san." "If you say so," Kabuto relented. "We have some time before they take us to the first briefing area." "It sounds like you've been to more than one Chunin exam, Kabuto-san," Hinata hazarded a guess. Kabuto nodded. "This will be my 6th Chunin exams." "6?" Naruto shouted. "This really is going to be a challenge." "I was already pumped, but this is going to be great." The older genin blinked. A few cast a glance at Lee and Hinata. They expected the two remaining members to look aghast. Naruto's declaration would likely paint a huge target on the team's back. Obviously, Team 9 wasn't what anyone expected. Lee was beaming. "Yosh. Steel sharpens steel. The more we stoke the flames of our youth, the more we can surpass our limits." "I am eager to prove myself," Hinata admitted. She matched the determination of her teammates, but not their volume or theatrics. Every shinobi surrounding Team 9 could not believe these rookies were radiating this much confidence. They weren't showing a single hint of fear, at least outwardly. That attitude can lead to rivals and enemies, Kabuto cautioned. Naruto grinned. Rivals can be fun. Enemies, not so much, but rivals can help us grow. Kabuto shook his head. You really are an idealist. Idea? Nah, Hinata's the idea person on the team. Naruto revealed with a shrug. The silence and blank stares that followed would someday pass into legend. Kabuto cleared his throat. Well, I guess having team roles clearly defined would be beneficial to your cell. We try our best at everything we do. Lee proudly declared. A drum split the sky like a peal of thunder. One of the older genin standing nearby shook his head. Looks like we'll get a chance to see how you rookies do. Attention, Chunin exams participants. Proceed to the amphitheater. Team 9 smiled at the announcement that spilled from the speakers. Naruto turned his fellow Konoha shinobi. Now, the fun begins. Konoha was a buzz of activity, even by the standards of a shinobi village. The village was preparing for the expansion of its ranks. The new genin teams were going to be assigned very soon. Team assignments were not technically state secrets, but were often guarded. Tenten had completely bucked that trend. The budding kunoichi had learned from the failures of her first graduation attempt. She had vetted every other graduate. Tenten had learned as much about their mindset and what made them tick as their skills as shinobi. There was no way she was failing again. Her pride wouldn't allow it. The last exam, Tenten, had impressed a fearsome jonin. One with connections. The weapons expert had seen the path forward. She had always idolized Tsunade as a mighty kunoichi that had forged her own legend through her skill. Yes, the slug Sannin was the last senju. That didn't take away from the fundamental truth that Tsunade had created an entirely new field of ninjutsu. Konoha revered her. The other shinobi nations begrudgingly acknowledged her prowess even as they feared her combat potential. That is what Tenten wanted. She wanted to carve out a legend for herself, just as Tsunade-sama did. So, she had skirted the edges of Konoha's laws on gathering intelligence. I will not fail again. Tenten's declaration to never fail again had driven her every action. She had taken part in the gossip circles. She had fostered relationships with teachers and older shinobi. Before she had realized it, she had started an information network. There were other benefits, as well. Tenten had found hanging out with some of the girls her age, particularly Ino and Sakura, had actually been kind of fun. The relationships she had fostered with teachers and full shinobi had turned into a side business where she received payment in both money and favors. Her actions had not gone unnoticed by certain members of Konoha's command structure. Thus, she found herself waiting to meet with the Hokage. The young woman honestly didn't know whether to be honored, horrified, or some combination of both. The Hokage will see you now, a Chunin Tenten didn't recognize announced. The young man pushed his nondescript black bangs out from his eyes as he held the door open. Thank you, Tenten responded as she entered the Hokage's office. Hiruzen Sarutobi was one of the most well-respected shinobi in the world. He was nearly universally loved within Konoha. He was the professor. Sarutobi-sama was an unmatched shinobi even in his advanced age. Ah, Miss Tenten, it is a pleasure to meet you in person, the Hokage said warmly. It is an honor to have an audience with you, Hokage-sama. Tenten bowed quickly. The Hokage lit his pipe and took a relaxed drag on it. I always take the time to meet with promising shinobi. You have earned the attention of a great many shinobi. Well, Tenten gulped. Is it good or bad attention? A bit of both, I'm afraid, Hiruzen admitted. That being said, the individuals that have an actual say in your career have been very impressed. Relief washed over Tenten. That's great to hear, Hokage-sama. Now. Sarutobi let the word hang in the air like the smoke from his pipe. You will likely be approached by some of your classmates about team assignments. Tenten chuckled. I already have, Hokage-sama. The Hokage matched the girl's laughter. And what have you told them? That I can't tell them anything because I quote, can't reveal my sources, unquote, Tenten revealed. Excellent. The Hokage leaned forward. Continue to say that. Hokage-sama, if I, may ask. Tenten cautiously broached the subject. Your team has already been decided. You have a strong will and aren't intimidated by anyone in your current class, Sarutobi hinted. Tenten hung her head. Am I really stuck with those two? The Hokage's earlier laughter had put Tenten at ease. His current laughter? That had the exact opposite impact. Hinata was used to people staring or watching her. She was very aware of the usual whys. Her association with Naruto was the source of gossip in Konoha. Her refusal to cover her Juinjutsu stunned most people. That was what Hinata had grown almost numb to since her new life had started. This was different. Hinata was expecting to be watched in a foreign village. She had activated her Byakugan discreetly and scouted the area. As she suspected, Kusagakure was closely watching every foreign participant. They were being very thorough. Hinata's dojutsu had detected numerous observational jutsu and even more concealed shinobi. Some of the shinobi were half-heartedly hidden. That was probably to simply let the visitors know they were being watched. So, how many have you noticed? Naruto whispered. Enough, Hinata answered. Lee nodded. It's almost like they want to be found. Well, yeah? Naruto countered. If you're looking at them, you aren't paying attention to any of the other ones. It's not just Kusagakure. There's an Ishigakure shinobi that has been paying us a lot of attention. He has been staring quite intensely. Lee coughed nervously, and Naruto grabbed Hinata's hand. The wild green beast of Konoha looked sheepishly at Hinata. I don't think he's looking over here for shinobi purposes, Hinata-san. Why else would he be looking over here? Hinata asked. For a reason that would get him punched in the mouth, Naruto grumbled. Lee rubbed the back of his head, a trait he had picked up from Naruto, and answered. I believe he finds you attractive, Hinata-san. Oh, Hinata replied. Desperate for a change in topic, Hinata saw the procession arriving at a sizable amphitheater. Once all the prospective Chunin had arrived, various dignitaries of Kusagakure and the Land of Rivers started to file into a large and luxurious box above the stage. The head ninja of Kusagakure bowed to the daimyo of his nation. Kusa's head ninja, a man who desperately wanted to elevate his status to one of a true Kage, strode forth. He was resplendent in the robes of his office. The older shinobi was renowned for his bojutsu. His signature weapon was clearly visible on his back. Team Youth couldn't read any of his other features due to the robes and some seals woven into the fabric. Kusagakure welcomes you, proud shinobi. The man's voice rang out. I salute you all. The future of the shinobi villages. Naruto followed along with the speech. He was mentally taking notes on how to work a crowd. The future Hokage thought the speech was pretty good. Obviously, the old man was a lot better. This guy wasn't too bad, but he had a flaw. His voice was a bit nasally. Still, this guy isn't bad when working a crowd, Naruto gave the man credit. Kusa's head ninja was really good at using his hands to emphasize points. That was pretty cool. I wish you all the best of luck. May we always strive to maintain peace between our glorious villages and nations. Applause rang out from the crowd. Odds were that most of the enthusiasm was from the Kusagakure prospects. Naruto's enthusiasm only swelled when a ninja wearing Kusagakure's flak jacket stepped forward. It was time. Chunin candidates, your objective is to discover room 416. Assets have been placed to assist you and hinder you. Dismissed, and good luck. Naruto and Lee turned to Hinata. She was already ahead of her two teammates. The head ninja and the Jonin didn't have anything on them. There are two hidden Chunin that had a map. Follow me. Her voice was soft and chosen carefully so that the noise would not travel far. Team 9 moved out quickly. They had dreams to catch and a room to find. My guy was not used to this situation. He had expected to be hands-off during the Chunin exams, but he could feel his worry gnawing at the back of his mind. The Jonin had grown rather attached to his young charges. "Your first exam as a sensei?" A Sunagakure Jonin asked. The man smiled at Might Guy as the Konoha Jonin shook his head. "Yes, it is my first exam. My students have put a great deal of hard work and have surpassed all my expectations." Another Jonin, a middle-aged woman from Ishigakure, chuckled. "I assume you have the young geniuses?" "I don't think any village is candidates as young as that group." "Thank you for the kind words about my students," Guy said politely. "However, they aren't geniuses. They are anything but. Instead, they have overcome a great many trials at such a young age. It wasn't an age of war like some of us have experienced, but they have not had anything handed to them. If they are geniuses of hard work. Well, I think we can expect great things from them. If they are as dedicated as you imply," the Ishigakure shinobi stated. "They are. If there is one piece of advice I can give, never underestimate those three," Guy declared. Team Youth had found a quiet rooftop to discuss their test. Kusagakure hadn't given any details about the test, the assets that would help, or the obstacles. Everyone was supposedly going into this test completely blind. "I bet the local teams have a bit of a leg up," Naruto grumbled. Hinata nodded as she scanned the surrounding area with her Byakugan. "That is a reasonable assumption, Naruto-kun. Kusagakure wants to have a strong showing and raise their stature." "Makes sense, but it's still crap," Naruto continued to complain. "I mean, how can you give a briefing so crap? Missions won't always have the best briefings, or conditions will change," Hinata tried to explain. Lee nodded. "It is frustrating, my friend. This will just prepare us for when missions do not go according to plan." "I'm still going to complain about it," Naruto declared. Hinata disabled her Byakugan and turned her attention back to the team. "This isn't ideal. This is a situation to complain about." Lee nodded. "I've noticed a few things." "Same," Naruto agreed. "Let's put everything on the table and see if we can get to the room." "A good idea. We must work together if we are to succeed," Lee announced proudly. "Alright, Hinata-chan. Get us started," Naruto prompted. The exiled Hyuga's gaze hardened as she became focused on her mission. There are numerous shinobi patrols. It appears to be a mix of Chunin and Jonin. There are several mixed in with the civilians and other patrolling in standard patterns. They will likely try to detain participants, Lee guessed. "Freaking brilliant really," Naruto admitted. "They get to push the Chunin candidates and test the village's security. Then perhaps we should relocate," Rock Lee suggested. "Good call," Naruto agreed. Hinata stood up and looked out over the village. "I'll lead the way. We need to try to avoid civilians too. They probably are being paid to sell us out," Naruto declared. The theory and plan of action gave Team 9 renewed confidence. The world wasn't so shadowed anymore. Irika was of two minds. On the one hand, it was nice to be acting as a frontline shinobi again. He had sharpened his skills and served the village in several higher-ranking missions. Irika had dealt with several threats to the village. Threats that would have put his students in danger if allowed to continue. On the other hand, he missed teaching. He wanted to be back in the academy, preparing the future of Konoha. The missions were valuable for his future as the head of the academy. He had seen the real world. There would need to be adjustments to the curriculum. The Academy 3 still had their place. Substitution and henge were absolutely vital skills. However, there was a need for some more advanced chakra control abilities. Naruto had proven that the leaf exercise was insufficient. Rock Lee had also proven that despite being unable to actively mold chakra for jutsu, he could still be an incredible shinobi. And both are on Might Guy's team, Irika thought as he strolled out of the Hokage's tower. His debriefing had been over quickly. Sarutobi-sama had been guarded in his praise, but genuine. Irika had accepted that he wasn't an exceptional field shinobi. The A rank had gone off nearly flawlessly, but Irika's contributions hadn't been as efficient as some of the other jonin on the mission. I'm a teacher, and that's where I belong, Iruka reminded himself. Right now, there was somewhere else he belonged. His pace quickened as he made his way towards Ichiraka Ramen. Iruka had missed Ayam more than anything else in Konoha. Even a bed that wasn't a thin bedroll in a small cave. Ichiraku was a hub of activity as the lunch rush started to die down. Iruka quirked an eyebrow as the pace Tucci was working was a bit more frantic than usual. Tucci saw Iruka approaching and motioned with his free hand. We'll talk in the back. Head on in. A flare of worry was lit in Iruka's gut, but he suppressed it. The last customer finished paying and went on their way. Iruka pulled up a chair next to Tucci in the kitchen. The ramen chef took a moment to light up a cigarette. I thought you had quit, Iruka pointed out. When Ayam's around, Tucci revealed. That lunch hour was great for the bank, but a brutal one on my knees. Ayam isn't here? Iruka wasn't even attempting to hide his disappointment. The chef took a drag of his cigarette. She's got a meeting with Marasai. First round of dishes. They are a week early. Iruka shouted. Tucci hummed in confirmation. That's how they do it. Highest standards. Anyone can cook a hell of a meal with practice and prep time. It's not shinobi work, but cooks have to perform under pressure as well. She'll do fine, Iruka said more to himself than anyone else. Ayam has cooked for Hokage-sama before. That she has, Tucci agreed. He stubbed out his cigarette. And you have stopped using honorifics with my daughter. Jonin or not, if I'm a grandfather before you propose, I will break every bone in your body. Iruka chuckled. He hadn't meant to let that slip. The teacher suddenly understood why Naruto feared the ladle so much. Remember to report any suspicious activity, a civilian guild boss shouted. A dozen eyes, a few of which were actually local civilians, watched his dog and pony show carefully. Team 9 was among the shinobi observing the civilian patrols. They quickly avoided the clumsy and loud patrols. While moving, the young Konoha ninja had discussed strategy. Kyuzugaku's test was coming into the picture. First, it was to see how teams could react to incomplete information. Second, it was a way to test the village's security. Hinata had observed several teams try to enter areas outside of the civilian ward. They were promptly swarmed by Jonin and Kyuzugaku's equivalent of ANBU and arrested. Naruto, Hinata, and Lee found another hiding spot after another civilian patrol passed. The ninjas were starting to feel confident. There are definitely couriers. I bet that is a way to find out where room 416 is, Naruto mentioned. He offered a fist bump to Lee for noticing that detail earlier. Lee returned the fist bump. We also can guess that the room is in the civilian ward. Multiple teams have tried to leave and been captured. There are a few rooms that have been set up to resist my Byakugan. We can use that to maybe narrow it down, Hinata added. If we grab a courier, we'll be in business, Naruto declared. The others nodded in agreement with Naruto. They started their mission. Team 9 began observing the patterns of the area. Naruto, Hinata, and Lee carefully tracked and memorized the patrols of the Kyuzugaku shinobi. The genin quickly found a workable plan. Naruto, for one, really enjoyed the basics of the plan. This is going to be fun. Hyo wanted to go home. He had been conscripted to play a role in the Chunin exams. Exams that due to being on medical leave, couldn't participate in. He was furious that the only way he could help the village was to be a glorified courier. He was a taijutsu expert. One of the best in his clan and the entire village. At least my team is getting credit for a B rank with this, Hyo growled. He didn't want to feel as though his team was falling behind. The last thing he wanted to do was dash her hopes. So, he would push through this mission. He would focus on his recovery and get stronger. Hyo would get faster. Maybe next time I won't get cut by those Kumo bastards. Hyo sighed. He was still pretty bored. The time he had been jumped by those Nadeshiko village kunoichi had started the fun. The foreigners had fought well. He had actually been having fun, until that one girl, Ka. What was her name? Kagura? Whatever, she was crazy. She had gotten a bit handsy and was shouting about marriage. Luckily for Kyo, his rat bastard teammate and another Chunin had shown up to drag her and the others away. I just want to fight someone normal. The thought seemed to trigger the universe's sense of humor. All around Kyo, the air was filled with streamers, clouds of flour, smoke bombs, loud fireworks, and other items. Kyo even had to dodge a broken vacuum cleaner. The noise was near one of the observation rooms. How did they figure out where the spooks were watching? Kyo nearly panicked. No, stay calm. Whoever is doing this can't possibly know that. He was debating moving to help the observation post when the hairs on the neck stood up. Kyo barely executed a substitution gestu before a flurry of kunai perforated the trash can he swapped with. Damn. Kyo cussed. That would have done some severe damage. Li-kun. Now. A girl's voice called out. Kyo barely had time to process the shout before a green blur nearly took his head off. Yash. That was an exceptional evasion. The bizarrely dressed shinobi complimented Kyo. I can see that you are a very skilled taijutsu combatant. So, maybe this guy wasn't too bad. At least, that was the thought at first. Kyo then got a look at the utter ridiculousness of his opponent. The green one-piece outfit was searing in its color. And is that spandex? Kyo thought for a fraction of a second before he had to deflect a series of punches. You are quite skilled. The green Konoha, it was clear by the hitayate around his waist, shinobi was beaming as he attacked. However, we do need to end this quickly. Sorry. The girl from early shouted as she landed a gentle strike to the shoulder. A moment later, searing, unbelievable pain racked his entire left side. The Kusagakure shinobi took another swing at his enemies. He felt some satisfaction as the green-wearing guy grunted in shock. Kyo may be wounded, ambushed, and outnumbered, but he sure as hell wasn't going to give up. Round 2 just went off. A third voice shouted out. Clear. Clear? The Kusagakure shinobi asked as his attackers jumped away. His answer came in the form of a very large net that materialized from somewhere. The net was moving with unreal speed. Enough speed to pin Kyo to a nearby wall. Whoever made this thing had attached several kunai to the edge of the net. Wow, you gave my teammates an awesome fight. You must be really good, the third voice praised the shinobi he had captured. Kyo got a good look at this newcomer. He was a semi-obnoxious looking dude with bright blonde hair and orange twice as bright as Kyo's own hair. Which was saying something. Kyo, for his part, didn't say anything. The Konoha shinobi, who was probably the leader of the cell, just smiled. Gotta admire you not saying anything. That being said, we need to get to room 416. 2, the girl interrupted. Looks like we have to do this quickly, the blonde guy sighed. Kyo growled as the green guy took the courier pouch. How many booby traps? Enough, Kyo snapped an answer. Legit answers? Or do we have to take you with us? The younger boy asked. Why don't you wait and find out? Kyo countered. He had to stall. Someone was on their way. The girl's reaction revealed that. He has friends on the way, the leader said with a shrug. 2 questions. First, how bad is the last obstacle to the room? Kyo glowered at the foreigners. Bad. Almost as bad as the ass-kicking I'd give you if I were fully healed. The green Konoha ninja's face lit up at the thought of such a fight. Not now, buddy, the leader said with a laugh. Most important question, any good ramen joints in this town? Ramen? 3 voices asked in shock. I don't think this is the best time to ask. The girl chided gently. Her face suddenly became deadly serious. 3 Kusagakure shinobi are on their way. We got what we need, the leader agreed. Green nodded. Yes, I believe this has been a successful operation. A shame I will not get a chance to fight such a splendid taijutsu fighter at his best. That would have been most youthful. Let's move. Kyo growled as the Konoha shinobi followed their leader's order. Kyo-kun. A familiar and treasured voice cried out. The voice brought with it very conflicting feelings. On the one hand, he treasured this person above all others. On the other, he had been defeated. I'm sorry, Toru, Kyo apologized. Toru tore the net out of the wall with extreme prejudice. Kyo blinked. His CR teammate had never been that forceful. You did great. That girl was a Hyuga. Toru praised her teammate. As the net fell to the ground, Kyo felt Toru's arms draped around his neck. His teammate and clansman, Yuki, arrived a moment later. Kyo saw the look on his face and returned it with a victorious smirk. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Team 9 eventually settled on a roof several blocks away from their encounter with the Kusagakure shinobi. Naruto pulled some rations and water bottles out of a scroll and passed them around. The young genin were grateful for a chance to catch their breath. It had been a tense and tiring exercise avoiding the constant patrols. The unfamiliar layout of the village and its artificial borders had also added a layer of stress and tension. Alright, Naruto said. Let's get this done. Hinata-chan, if you would do the honors? Of course, Naruto-kun, Hinata agreed. Her Byakugan flared to life, and she took in her surroundings in a manner few in existence ever had. Chakra was laid bare to her eyes. Everything within 4 kilometers was visible. There were several buildings shielded against the power of her dojutsu, but even that was information she could use to help her teammates. She may no longer be Hyuga, but she was still incredibly proud of her genetic legacy. The Byakugan was the greatest of the dojutsu. There are no chakra signatures within the bag. I see a simple trigger trap connected to a vial of liquid, probably acid, Hinata reported. Trigger mechanism? Naruto asked as he flopped to the ground next to the bag. There is a switch to disarm it at the bottom. Turn counterclockwise. Naruto flipped the switch, and there was an audible click that followed. The trap was disabled. Naruto tossed the bag to Lee with a grin. Care to do the honors, buddy? You did point out the couriers after we moved that first time. Lee smiled and accepted the honor. He grinned at Naruto's choice of words. The Green Beast's teammate and close friend was doing his best to make sure each member of the team felt valued and important. I am grateful, Lee declared. His face beamed at the offer. Rock Lee reached into the bag and pulled out an envelope. I have the location of room 416. Lead on, Lee-kun, Hinata said. Naruto followed his teammates through the streets of Kusagakure. Excitement bubbled up from his gut. Naruto possessed a rock-solid faith that he would be Hokage. Every bound and leap he took was another moment where he got closer and closer to his goal. Pride and anticipation continued to build. I can see our destination, Lee announced. Hinata quickly shouted in alarm. The 2 boys of the team were grateful for Hinata's warning. Her Byakugan had saved them again. Then again, the very intense wordless war cry would have tipped Naruto and Lee off as well. The war cry had escaped from the throat of a legitimately pretty girl. She was wearing a yellow dress-like top over black leggings and combat boots. The Kusagakure kunoichi didn't say a word to Naruto, Lee, or Hinata. Instead, she launched into a skillful taijutsu assault against Lee. The attacking kunoichi was very skilled and utterly focused on defeating the green-clad Konoha shinobi. Lee! Naruto cried out, but his attempt to isolate the Kusagakure kunoichi was thwarted. A new arrival intercepted Naruto. The enemy was an older teen wearing a blue, long-sleeved V-neck shirt and the same colored pants. Not so fast. The shinobi shouted at Naruto. Naruto didn't have time to wait around. He didn't know this guy's abilities. He didn't know anything about the abilities of his opponent. So, Naruto did the first thing that came to mind. He activated a launcher scroll. The black and white-haired shinobi caught a veritable tidal wave of random junk to the face. Naruto tried not to laugh as his opponent caught a kitchen sink and a bench to the face. The launcher had caught the guy completely by surprise. Naruto's kitchen sink had completely knocked the guy out. I'm sorry, Hinata's opponent shouted. The feminine-looking opponent launched into a Hokuan assault. The Hyuga exile was impressed by the skill of her opponent. The Kusagakure shinobi, and he was a shinobi, only really had a single flaw: self-doubt. Hinata wondered if the self-doubt was tied to his cross-dressing. That was something outside of Hinata's purview. She needed to focus on winning this fight. Her teammates were counting on her. With a wordless battle cry, Hinata deflected her opponent's strike. She didn't want to truly harm her foe, but Juken was not a gentle art despite the popular name for the taijutsu school. Hinata pushed a small amount of chakra through her strikes. The damage wouldn't be crippling, but hopefully, it would cause her opponent to retreat. Hinata did not get her wish. The opponent hissed in pain. Hinata realized that her opponent was starting to learn how to deal with gentle fist. So, Hinata did the most unjuken move possible. A dropkick. To the face. Hinata tumbled as she fell so that she could rise to her feet almost instantly. Her aggressive fighting stance was unnecessary. The cross-dressing opponent was out cold. She turned to face the melee Lee was engaged in. Hinata made it a single step towards the aggressive kunoichi when Naruto's voice rang out. "We've knocked out both your teammates. We're giving you a chance to help your friends and withdraw. If not, well, that'll be your fault." The kunoichi looked at Naruto, then Lee and Hinata, before turning back to Naruto. She huffed like a boar about to charge, before deflating a bit. "Fine." She relented and relaxed her stance. Naruto motioned for Lee and Hinata to back away. Lee, however, bowed happily. "You are quite skilled. I know I have encountered two very worthy taijutsu opponents here in Kusagakure. It was an honor fighting against you." The compliment completely caught the young woman off guard. She nearly fell over picking up the black and white-haired fighter Naruto had beaten. Thank you?" "Let's go," Naruto suggested to his team. Team 9 quickly departed and to their immense relief, did not encounter any other opponents. "How close are we?" Naruto asked as the three Konoha shinobi came to a stop in a sheltered alley. "The building across the street," Hinata pointed out. "That is where room 416 is located." "This is unusual," Lee thought out loud. "There are only patrols on the ground floor. I cannot see anything through the windows that hint at other patrols." Naruto crossed his arms. Maybe they were counting on the building being had to find? "I believe that is why. This test seems to be our ability to scout hostile territory," Hinata suggested. "A heavily defended building would stand out too much." "What can you see, Hinata-chan?" Naruto asked. Hinata spread her awareness over the entire block. "I see two ways inside. There is a ventilation shaft on the roof that goes to the 4th floor. The second way is through the sewers." "Air shaft it is," Naruto and Lee quickly declared. Naruto really appreciated how quiet his storage seals had become. The grate for the air vent disappeared with nary a pop. Team 9 slipped out from the cramped air vent and walked down the hall. Room 416 was such a simple door. There were no visible defenses, but the three young ninjas weren't taking any chances. Hinata kept her Byakugan active as Naruto reached for the door handle. The door opened to reveal an older jonin sitting at a desk with a stack of papers. "Welcome, Konoha Shinobi, to room 416. Congratulations on being the first foreigners to pass the first stage of the Chunin exams." Team 9 smiled in relief. Their happy declarations were cut off by a simple and unexpected question. "Would you care for some tea?" This was all for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it and that you will be back for more. Please like, share and subscribe. See ya.